Well, thanks for coming back to visit again, talking politics in Western Pennsylvania. My name is Bill Merrell, and I'll be your host for this trip. Today is going to be a very important day for all of our community because of the fact we're looking into this current election process that's happening next month. So I call it the Investigation for the Beginner, Course 101. Just to give you once again a little background about myself, I was elected to the Peters Township Council, member of the Republican Leadership Group, elected to the Pennsylvania Republican State Committee, elected as the county chairman for the Republican Party, elected to the school board for Peters Township, and have interviewed politicians on this program for over 16 years. The questions I've been asked: did you really leave the Republican Party because you don't believe they currently have leadership that works for the good of the party? My answer to that is absolutely yes. I am now an independent. On the 16th of May, I changed my party affiliation from Republican to Democrat, or to independent, and I don't regret it one bit at this point. Now, hopefully that will change in the future, and in fact, we will have a better group leading the party both locally and county-wise. Having been the chairman of the Republican Party, why can't you support their selections for some of the public offices in Washington County? This program is going to give you that reason why. What do you know about these people that the public does not know? And here, get ready for the ride. Let's look at the people running for office of county commissioner. Okay, once again, I've used this slide before. Larry Maggi, Cindy Fisher, Nick Sherman, and Janice Electra. Okay, Maggi, of course, has 20 years as a commissioner. So he has experience in that position, which has lasted for all those years. He was a county sheriff and a Pennsylvania state policeman, so he knows the laws. He was a Marine for 8 or 9 years. Cindy Fisher went to Duquesne University, got her MA and BS from Duquesne. She has been the Cecil Township Supervisor for 10 years. She is now the chairman of that group. She worked at Jameson's Army Executive Board, and she also did Dick's Sporting Goods as a planner. Nick Sherman went to Clarion. He graduated from South Park, even though he said he lived in Washington County all of his life. He's been the county commissioner for 4 years. And domestic outreach, and we'll get into this program a little bit later, but that was a family organization, so it's not like he was out into the marketplace. The assistant to Tim Murphy, I think that speaks for itself, and legislative assistant for 1 year. I really couldn't find out who that was with. Janice Electra, okay, she received a BA and an MA from Chatham. She worked in the representative's office. Now, some of her documentation says she was the chief of staff. Some of it says she was the office manager, and some of it doesn't say anything. And whenever I called to find exactly what her position was, the person who answered the phone laughed, and I actually sent Natalie Mahalik an email asking her exactly what the position was, and I never heard back. But she worked at Scarmazzi Homes part-time, and she has like 47 years of experience over 6 years. That she was part-time this and full-time that and doing this and that, but never held a full-time job for a long period of time. And in fact, you have to ask yourself, is a 26 or 27-year-old the person who you would want to run your company? She has education, I'll give her that, but in fact, she doesn't have life experience leading anything, let alone a county. The state ethics code. We've talked about this before, but I want to go over it again because I want to make sure that everybody understands. Conflicts of interest. No public official or public employee shall engage in conduct that constitute a conflict of interest. Seeking improper influence. No person shall offer or give to a public official, public employee, or nominee or candidate for public office, or a member of the immediate family or a business with which he is associated anything of monetary value. That comes to be a big play in the future here, including a gift, loan, political contribution, reward, promise of future employment based on offers or donors' understanding that the vote, official action, or judgment of the public official or public employee or nominee or candidate for public office would be influenced thereby. That whole paragraph comes back to play about 8 times. Accepting improper influences. No public official, public employee, or nominee or candidate for public office shall solicit or accept anything of monetary value, including a gift, loan, political contribution, reward, or promise of future employment based on the understanding of the public official, public employee, or nominee that the vote, official action, or judgment of the public official or public employee or nominee or candidate for public office would be influenced thereby. Honorarium. No public official or public employee shall accept an honorarium. Contingent and severance payments. No person shall solicit or accept a severance payment or anything of monetary value contingent upon the assumption or acceptance of public office or employment. Okay, look at this form. You'll see that statement of unpaid debts. When politicians are running for office, people can lend them money. And in this case, Nick Sherman lent his own party or his own committee over $20,000, which is common, especially when you're running for a county-wide office. You notice below there, his mother, Linda Sherman, donated $5,000 to his, but it wasn't donated, it was a loan, okay? So that's to be paid back. Celebrity Bartender Night with Commissioner Nick Sherman benefits the domestic violence services of Southwest PA and domestic outreach centers. Okay, this is very important. Commissioner Sherman advertised celebrity bartending benefiting his mother's nonprofit that he worked on prior to his election. To benefit Domestic Outreach Center, Commissioner Sherman has an unpaid campaign debt of $5,000 to his mother, Linda Sherman. And here's where it gets interesting. According to his Vote Nick Sherman site, it states the Domestic Outreach Center, the nonprofit that Nick and his sister Jody now operate, received a $5,000 contribution from CNX. Okay, once again, the illegalities of these actions are one of the reasons why I can't support the current district attorney, because he's failing to protect the public. WTAE has ran a program lately talking about the communication service that in fact the county commissioners went for. Okay, they voted 2-1 to go with Tate. Here was the original bid that they had put in. $23 million plus, Motorola $30 million plus. They voted to go with Tate. Now the problem is the WTAE program that they ran showed Motorola coming in like 16 or 17 million, and that wasn't the bid that originally happened. All right, so whenever they're talking apples and oranges. So what they're saying now is Motorola, which in fact, I will admit, is the organization that most of the county EMS and emergency services wanted them to go with. Now all of a sudden, after the bids were let, coming in at 16 or 17 million versus the $30 million you saw on this slide. So of course they threw the mic in front of Nick and he voted for Motorola, and let's see why. Nick has been pushing Motorola for public safety. Motorola was higher by almost $7.5 million. And that was once again the original bid. And over the life of the contract, the maintenance, they were almost $10 million over the bid of Tate. Now you see Motorola contributions to Nick in 2 years went to $4,000. So you have to wonder exactly what's going on, but let's not stop there. Example how contributing to Nick's campaign turns into cash. Now, I abbreviated the names after I did the research here because I don't think these people need to be chastised or anything for what they did because they didn't know it was wrong. He should have. The first line there donated $1,500 and got a contract for $3,500. The second line, the same person donated $1,000 and got a $5,000 contract. The third line down, R&V, donated only $1,150, but they got a total of almost $80,000 contract from the county. And the last one donated $500 and received a contract for $3,500. And these are all these facts and figures are available. Okay, so it's not something that I'm sneaking around trying to get. These are all available. Now let's talk about the rumors and overheard comments. The local political chief in Washington County will become the county solicitor if he supports Nick in this election, and if they both win. Okay, a harassment claim might be on the horizon for comments he has made about women's bodies at work. Requiring vendors to show up at my golf tournament to get his support. Swearing at county employees causing a hostile work environment. According to the folks at the county, his assistant doesn't show up for work 1 or 2 days a week, but still gets full pay. And unprofessional or vulgar comments made at the cigar place at the Meadows. But that's not all. I literally have 3 pages of insults, comments made, possible violations. For one, it had he had accepted a free membership to Mariana Outdoor Association. Okay. I'm still looking into that one to see if it was ever put on any of his ethics forms. But he shouldn't be accepting a free anything anyhow. Let me say, like I said, it's rather discouraging whenever I'm looking. His employee violating county leave policy. You know, if he doesn't have enough work, he's expected to help other people in the office, which he doesn't do. Comment about vendors. No, I haven't met them, but if they are going to do business with the county, they will be at my golf outing. Oh, I already talked about that one. Yeah, comment about illegal donors. Get their wives to write the check. This is not the kind of person we need in government, okay? Not at all. Now, let us look at the local magistrate. Is he keeping us safe? And I'm sorry to say there's going to be a lot of reading here because of the fact that after I investigated this, well, you make up your own mind. The Magisterial District Judge, Mellograin, case stats. The non-traffic criminal cases. This includes disorderly conduct, underage drinking, harassment, criminal mischief, and first offense shoplifting. Okay. In 2023, Phil Mellograin has either dismissed non-traffic charges or non-traffic charges have been withdrawn in almost 60% of the cases. This is double the statewide of 31.4 and the county of 33.3 averages from 2019 through 2021, the most recent available years at the pacourts.us. As a result, only 8.5 of non-traffic criminal cases are going to trial versus the benchmarks of 20% statewide and almost 31% countywide. So he's almost 4 times lower than the rest of the magistrates in Washington County sending cases to trial. Overall, among 352 non-traffic cases in our district, only 139 ended up guilty. And that's what they usually do whenever they come in, because the police have done their job correctly. A rate of 39.5 versus the benchmark statewide of 60.2%, and the Washington County 52.5%. Once again, his cases, it's just wrong. I mean, but, well, we'll talk about that in a second. The result is driven largely by sharp increases in the number of non-traffic cases being withdrawn since Phil Mellegrain was appointed. And he was appointed. He didn't win this in an election. Actually, he hasn't won any position as judge in an election. He hasn't won any elections. In 2019, though, through 2021 under Jesse Pettit as magisterial district judge, an average of 34 non-traffic cases per year were being withdrawn. So far, in the first 9 months of 2023, 166 non-traffic cases have been withdrawn under Phil Mellegrain, or on an annual rate basis, this is more than a 6-time increase in our district. Now, these are not traffic cases. These are criminal or summary cases that, in fact, were just withdrawn. So the police do their job. The criminal, of course, did their job, and they're brought to the magistrate, and he just throws it out. Now, that's a waste of our township money. That's a waste of the state money. That's a waste of everybody's money. Let's look at these. You'll see the non-traffic criminal, guilty, plea, and disposed on the left-hand side. Now, from 2019 to 2021 in Washington County, you'll see the number of cases withdrawn at 14%. In the entire state of Pennsylvania, the number of cases withdrawn are almost 11%. But look to the far right there. He's 4.5 times over the average. Now, does that mean our criminals are less or more offensive? I'm not sure, but he seems to let them go. Now, look down here at the guilty and the trial, guilty or not guilty. The guilty, 60% across for the county, 69% for Pennsylvania, and he has almost 87%. The not guilty, 39.5, 31, and he has 13.3. How can the figures be that far off? You really do have to wonder what's going on here, because of the fact that I'm not sure justice is being served. The local magistrate, number of non-traffic cases. You see the years there on the left-hand side. Well, Phil Mellegrain was appointed in the second half of 2002. You see the first 4 years there, 41, 24, 37, 16. And then you see the 55, and look at the 166 cases withdrawn. Okay, this is, I mean, it's, and the case is dismissed. What does that mean? You know, everybody complains about the speed of people in the plans in the township. And these are non-traffic cases. So this means that there's other cases of, as I pointed out before, other cases that, in fact, aren't extreme criminal cases. We're not talking about murder cases or anything like that, but we're talking about the crimes that happen before we get to those things. Traffic cases. Similarity, a relatively large number of traffic cases in our district are being either dismissed or withdrawn. In 2023, is mostly dismissed by Phil Mellegrain. Phil Mellegrain is dismissing almost 21% of all traffic cases, which is nearly double the statewide 12% and the countywide average of 10.5% averages. However, when you exclude the guilty pleas, which is most of the traffic citations do, because the police have done their job well, 50.3% of the remaining traffic cases are being dismissed by Phil Mellegrain, which compares to 32.7 statewide and only 23.4 countywide. The number of traffic cases being dismissed in our district has significantly risen since Mellegrain was appointed. In 2019 and 2020, 51 and 45 traffic cases were dismissed by Justice Pettit, respectively. So far in 2023, 306 traffic cases have been dismissed. That's only 9 months, remember. On an annual rate basis, this is more than 8 times the increase in our district. How can that be? Okay, the law is there to follow. It is not there to, but you do get people's votes when you let them go. Traffic cases, let's look at these. Guilty pleas disposed of. The guilty pleas are within the ballpark. We're not going to argue with that one. Disposed of, though, is interesting. Washington County, for those years that we talked about, is 14%. Pennsylvania, it's 19%. But with Phil Mellegrain, it's 28.2%. Dismissed is more interesting. In Washington County, it's 10.5%. In Pennsylvania, it's 12%. Phil Mellegrain is almost 21%. Not guilty plea under trial, you see there. Under the county, it's almost 49%. Under the state, it's almost 30%. But with Phil, it's almost 17%. Why are the figures so skewed? You really have to ask yourself that. Okay, local magistrate district 270301 is what we have. The years that you see there, okay, are basically before Phil took over. He took over half of 2002. But the withdrawn cases, you see that large jump to 107. And over to the right-hand side, those dismissed cases are almost, 548, including 2 years, the half year that he was here and the full year. Why is his figures so skewed? One particular circulator was an active constable in Washington County. Not the Peters Township constable. We borrowed. Peters Township constable was in fact ill, so he must have borrowed another constable. A judge or judicial candidate shall not use court staff facilities or other court resources in a campaign for judicial office. A judge who is candidate for elective judicial office shall not use court staff facilities or other court resources in a campaign for judicial office, except that a judge may use court facilities for the purpose of taking photographs, videos, or other visual or campaign purposes. A witness observed this constable actively circulating petitions for signatures on behalf of Judge Mellegrain while in uniform, being paid by the state, in violation with this rule, in violation of the Code of Judicial Conduct. And they were spotted at Heisler's Market. But the fairness in the courtroom seems to be a family connection. Cases heard first 4 months of this year saw dismissed charges or greatly reduced by members of the family of his son's teammate on the baseball team who had positive outcomes in their hearings. 2 cases had charges dropped in total. 2 cases had charges greatly reduced. These records are available on, you see that site. The answer to the question, is he keeping us safe? The answer is no. Okay, but he is securing votes from all those people coming in front of him at the community's expense, which is probably why he has never won an elected race and has always been appointed but lost the elections. Acorns don't fall far from the tree. The Mellegrain family have been in magistrates before, okay? His father, in fact, was a magistrate in Castle Shannon, and he was indicted on a number of counts of conspiracy, mail fraud, and civil rights. He spent 25 to 27 months in jail, incarcerated. get this.
You all should need to know that America is not sending their best and brightest, to Washington, D.C. Yes. Sometimes you literally just can't believe, these people are making the decisions that are, determining the government here.
Okay, once again, I usually don't believe with Senator Fetterman, but in this case I do. And we're not sending our best and brightest to Washington County or to our Peters Township offices. This next part, Greensburg, Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania State Police in Greensburg issued a reminder to the public Monday regarding recently reported thefts of political signs. Police say that they would like to remind members of the public that stealing a political sign is a crime. A person who is found to have stolen a political sign or signs may be charged with a theft. I bring this up, as you see at the bottom, because the chair of Peters Township Republicans had recently illegally removed the sign and was caught by the police, but no action was taken by the offended party. Just a reminder, Washington County Republicans as well as Peters Township are supporting Nick, Electra, and Phil. Now you know what they don't. Members of the Washington County Bar Association voted overwhelmingly in support of Valerie Costanzo and Michael Lucas for county judge. Some other local races. For the reasons I have all mentioned, that the current district attorney is not following the law and chasing down these people, I'm supporting Christina DeMarco Breeden. Okay? Commissioners Larry Maggi and Cindy Fisher. And by the way, if you'll notice, a recent thing sent out by Nick and Electra saying Cindy Fisher doesn't bother paying her taxes on time. Well, I contacted Cindy, and her answer to me was, that is a lie. So I will be, in fact, checking with that to find out if that is, in fact, true or not. Peters Township races. Peters Township Council, Frank Kozer, Bob Lewis. Peters Township School Board, Camaletti, Briegel, and O'Neill. And you notice I'm not supporting any attorney because, once again, we had 4 attorneys on the board, and they still violated the Sunshine Act the original time that they vote for the mask. For the voters of the magisterial district, the best choice is Christina Fox Grasso. She'll be a full-time magistrate and will not be operating a law practice, having the magistrate's office as a side gig as Phil Mellegrain is. She'll be the first woman in that office. She is being supported by Democrats, Independents, and Republicans, and she has the unanimous support of the Pennsylvania Police chapter of the state police locally, as well as the Harrisburg state headquarters. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you learned something. I hope everybody learned something, because we need good political people. We need a good judge. We need a good DA, and we need good people in the county commissioner's office. So thank you, and we'll see you next time.